Welcome to the only podcast I noticed that Cerulean showed up in the collections of 8 different designers, then it filtered down through the department stores, and then trickled on down into some tragic casual corner where you, no doubt, fished it out of a clearance bin. However, that blue represents millions of dollars of countless jobs, and it's sort of comical how you think you've made a decision that exempts you from the fashion industry, when in fact you're wearing a sweater that was selected for you by the people in this room from a pile of stuff. It's Try But True. I'm your host, Jasper. Straight from the tortured poets department. What a fantastic intro. That was perfect. And you know what? I didn't have to read a script. That was off. I was off book, as it were. It took one take. I didn't have to start recording again because I ran out of storage, and I also just didn't look good. I don't know what you're talking about. One hit, one take wonder, as they say. See Meryl Streep do that. In this podcast, I don't really have a plan. Admittedly, we are gonna do trying to be news, which we did last week, which we're still workshopping the name. Last week it was called trying to be true the news, but now it's trying to be the news. We're trying to have a nice branding opportunity, okay? Me and my team are working really hard on finding the perfect name for this segment. In this, we're going to talk about the hot topics, which will include, as you could probably guess, The Devil Wears Prada 2. We are going to touch on Tyler Catastrophe again. I can say that off mic, by the way. Like, I was practicing this morning to say his name, said it perfectly. As soon as I have a mic to me, catastrophe. It's catastrophe. Whatever. That's the closest I'm gonna get. I have to be really quiet because there's a class right there, and there's a big old window, and I kind of feel like a fish. Oh, Jesus, that was loud. I kind of feel like a fish in a fish bowl, and it's just really not ideal. It's kind of not my favorite thing. I actually hate being in this situation. I kind of just didn't want to do the podcast today after finding that there was a class now. Editing Jasper, I don't know why I'm so close up. I apologize. I just want to reiterate that generally that was maybe the worst experience I've ever had during the podcast. Honestly, one of the worst experiences I've ever had, ever. If I'm gonna be honest, it was like actually humiliating, and it made me very upset, and that's why the podcast is bad. It's not because I'm untalented or not funny. I don't know why you're saying that. I don't know why people are trying to say that, why people are spreading lies about me. What was that noise? Who did that? Sorry, it's very late on Thursday. I need to submit this soon so it can come out tomorrow. Come out? Yeah. So just thought I'd tell you that. So be warned, this is not my best episode. Feel free to skip it. Rewatch last week's. Rewatch another one. I don't know. Yeah. Actually, don't. Watch this whole thing. Watch it 3 times over. Continue watching it until your eyes bleed and your ears explode. Usually there's no class because I record on a different day. We're recording on a Wednesday. I didn't wear pink, but I have pink incorporated. But yeah, I'm here. I showed up in a cool shirt, a vintage t-shirt, a vintage shirt. Yeah, and I got it for less than a quarter of the price that you can buy it on eBay. Yeah, I did. You can't see it, but I'll put a photo of I have a photo of it from where I had to Google search it to see what it was and see if it was like about Nazis. It's not. I didn't think it was, but these days you never really know because at the main venues I go to, they have a vintage section, a retro section. I forget what they call it. It's not actually vintage, so I think it's called retro. And there's like a bunch of t-shirts, but all the ones that are in sizes I can wear are like either about a nerd shit like Spider-Man, which I did buy one, or like sport, I did buy a sport one. But there's also like, I don't know, a bunch of shows and shit that I don't care about or watch or whatever watch, like Stranger Things and shit. But also there's a lot of like Make America Great Again. Yeah. Did I talk about? Alright, Hot Topics, Tyler Catastrophe, Devil Wears Prada 2. I don't know what the other segment is today. I'm going to put you on, of course. We actually don't always do put you on. I kind of was lax for a few weeks, but we're back. Put you on. I feel like it's the only segment that has survived like the 3 seasons. Like, remember when I used to try something new every episode, and that's where the name came from. I tried something and told you if it was true, if it was good or not. Yeah. Haven't really been trying anything new, actually. Oh, I put cheese in my ravioli last night. That was good. Tried that, done that, boom. Tried about true segment, over. Also, I do have my shoes on as well, because I thought it was inappropriate to take them off while I just made eye contact again. Perfect. That was great. Loved that so much. Yeah, I felt it was inappropriate to take my shoes off while those people were around. Even though my feet do not smell anything, it's just like, on a private jet you can do whatever you want because no one's there, but on a normal plane, keep your shoes on. You know what I mean? Because I, of course, have plenty of experience in private jets, you know. I go to them all the time, but it's just so exhausting. You have to book it. Whereas with like a normal plane with first class, you can just show up, kinda. And like, you don't have to pay for anything besides your ticket. It's just a lot easier. You know, I'd rather just go first class. Sometimes I use Air One. You know, just private planes. It's just not worth it sometimes, honestly. Trust me, save yourself the trouble. Okay, final segment. Welcome to Trying to Be News. Our headlines. Devil Wears Prada 2. Is it gonna be good? I don't know. And Tyler Catastrophe. Is he being normal yet? No. So yes, Devil Wears Prada 2. The second one. Now, I have watched the first one several times. I like it. Not several times, actually. I haven't watched it as much as you would assume I have. Like, you would assume it's like in my top list of like rewatched movies. I think I've watched it like 3 times. But it's a great movie. I love it. I honestly have been planning to rewatch it, and I just can't be bothered. Not because it's a bad movie, but because I think it's a bit longer. And you know what? I've been watching Over the Hedge. I've been watching Vanilla Mae's streams. No, not streams, vlogs. I've been watching. That's put you on. Sorry. Anyway, so yeah, Devil Wears Prada 2. Now, admittedly, I have kind of been following it. Not the plot. I actively, when I want to watch a movie, I do not watch trailers. I don't want to know anything about it. I want to go in. What I want to know is some of the people in it, and that's it, pretty much. Like, or like, okay, maybe like a bit of the plot, but like trailers, especially nowadays, I hate how trailers just give away the entire thing. But anyway, Devil Wears Prada 2, the plot that I know is there's some sort of incident, like PR nightmare, and Andy has to come back to the magazine and like become the PR manager or something, and like get them out of trouble because Miranda said something weird. But anyway, that's not what I want to talk about. I want to talk about, is it going to be good? Because because a lot of people are questioning that. Because so far, what we've seen, especially with the outfits, is that the 2007 movie, did it come out in 2007? Whenever Devil Wears Prada 1 came out, the fashion was somewhat, not even somewhat dated. Like, you could kind of tell where it was kind of in the 2000s. The outfits and the fashion did have a sense of timelessness, and they were excellent outfits. They were amazing. It was phenomenal. Like, that's like the main thing. A fashion movie has good fashion. But in this one, it's fine. I honestly think Andy has probably the best wardrobe in Hathaway's character, and it's boring. It's basic. It's less interesting than anything. She just wears a bunch of grey pantsuits, I feel, and yet that's the best outfit. I think Miranda is absolutely like bad. Like some of the bullshit she has on, she has this tassel jacket, and I saw the costume designer be like, when I saw that jacket, I just knew Miranda had to wear it. Did you watch the movie? Do you know anything about the character you're meant to be dressing? Because I really don't think she would wear a tassel jacket. Are we serious? Anyway, so the fashion's bad. And quite frankly, it's because they didn't bring back the costume designer from the first one. I don't know why. If it's for like some medical reason, fair enough. Or whatever, but if they just didn't hire her again, what the fuck? Why? That's stupid. Yeah, so I just think it's like the fashion should be the main focus. Not the main focus, but like a primary focus. Like, and I feel like it is a problem with a lot of newer movies when they try and be fashionable. I just got stared at again. Perfect. But when they try and be fashionable, they like Mean Girls, the musical, the movie is probably the best example where it came out in 2024, but they dressed like it was 2023, 2022 because movies take that long because the time it takes for a movie to go from shooting to being released and fashion cycles are so different. Like you have 3 or 4 fashion cycles at the minimum between when a movie is filming and when it comes out. So like why are we trying to be so on trend? You should be trying to be like, I don't know. It's hard because I do think it's a new era where, because in the 2000s, if you it wasn't like, oh, that's very 2004. It was, oh, that's very early 2000s. That's very 2002 to 2004, 2005. And then it was 2006, 7, 9, 7, 6, 7. If one more person looks at me, I'm going to actually cry, by the way. The narrative, I saw people worry about it because we don't actually know that much about it. So they're scared that there's not going to be a narrative. I'm on the other side of and I actually think from what we've seen, there feels to be a lot more of a narrative. Like I saw, I don't know, there's a thing, I don't know, actually I don't know. I'm hoping it's more than that. I want to see it. It's going to be one of the first movies in a long time that I'm going to push people to go watch with me. Like I'm watching that in theaters. Sorry. Anyway, next headline.
Can you hear me? Can you see me? Can you see me? Hold on. Can you hear me or see me? Can you hear and see me or see me and hear me?
Yeah.
Testing.
Hello? Can you see me?
Oh, good. You can hear me and see me.
Tyler Catastrophe. So the big development from when I talked about him last week is he went to the art house or whatever of that guy who made the blackest black paint and the pinkest pink paint, and he was there for like half an hour and he was like, oh, give me a job. And they were like, maybe. And he said, okay, I need to move. If I move to England, I'll have a job. So he started selling all his stuff and he was like, I'm so excited, pay for my GoFundMe, which I did mention, but pay for my GoFundMe so I can go to Brighton and see go work at this because I can work on my own things. I can do blah, 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 blah. Only to find out later that he never got offered a job. They actually, he got ghosted by them after a while and he asked his assistant and she was like, yeah, no, you don't have a job, bud. Right. So he got ghosted and lied to. And then the guy, Simon Soot, came out and was like, yeah, I met him for like 30 minutes. He's cool, I guess. No, I didn't offer him a job. I said, if you get over here, we can think about it, maybe. Because I didn't think he was actually going to come and do it, because that's crazy. And then, what else? So that was the thing. And then he also said that he is Two-Spirit because his, I don't know, someone said he was. And he is. And and his reasoning, someone did, like, confirmed it for him, apparently, allegedly. But he was like, oh, I just feel I'm so connected to Oregon. Like, when I went there, I could breathe for the first time, blah, blah, blah. And if that sounds familiar, it's because it's exactly what he said about Brighton, England. So, are you the descendant of Edgar Allan Poe, or are you a Native American? I feel like you can't be both. Again, because Allan Edgar Poe had zero children. So yeah, and then what else? There was something else. Oh, my main thing is that he is just lying about the Lexus thing, because he's like changed the story 1,000 times, but the consistent detail is he totaled a car going 50 miles per hour and it hit him in the ribcage. That didn't happen. Maybe he got hit in the ribcage by a car, but it was not going 50 and he did not total it. But yeah, he keeps changing his story. He also says he has a motorbike, he has a scooter. But anyway, so part of the getting hit by a car is that he can't work, he's disabled, he can't work anywhere, and that's why he started doing beadwork. But I've also seen a video where he said, by the way, these are all videos he's talked about. He was celebrating the 2-year anniversary of when he could finally make beads full time. Because he used to work in a service job and now he can do it full time. Now, I don't know if this is just me, but if you are celebrating the 2-year anniversary when you could quit your job to pursue this full time, how did you also only start doing the beadwork because you had no other way to make income because you're too disabled to work? And I feel like being a service worker, like waiting tables, is probably not isn't really an easy job. And I feel like if you are missing a rib and you can't walk or breathe properly, that's probably not the job you would have. Anyway, but he did apologize recently, and he said he's going off the internet, so it probably is the end of the saga. Probably the last time I'll talk about him, second and last. He apologized for the Simon it's not Simon whatever Simon says thing, and he said, yeah, I probably just got overexcited. But with the Wilbur Soot thing, the Wilbur Gold, the Minecraft guy, the Brighton Biter, his apology wasn't, I'm sorry, I supported this abuser and I still support him and I love him still and I'm obsessed with him and I'm parasocial. It's, I'm sorry that I talked about it and I tried to reduce harm by talking about it and defending Wilbur, but that's not what happened, so I'm sorry. Which isn't really an apology for the things we're mad, the things are wrong with the situation. We're not mad that you talked about it. Well, we are, but we're more. The problem more is that you are blaming the victim. Also, apparently, there's a alleged Tumblr where he shit talks the sexual assault victim. So that also kind of dictates what he's saying. But yeah, so overall, he's kind of just a little bit of a shitty guy. Okay. Final segment, I'm so ready to go home. I feel like I'm going to vomit because I need to have a drink and I can't have a Powerade in here. I just don't want to watch. Movies, haven't really watched any of note. Shows though, I've been watching Margot's Got Money Trouble. I really like it. However, if I'm gonna be annoying and a nerd about it, the wrestling part of it, so far, again, like most shows about wrestling or have wrestling influences, aren't for people who like wrestling, and that's okay. I'm not mad about that. What I think it's actually good that it's marketed towards other people because it's not a wrestling show, it's a drama with where a wrestler is in it. But like, it's inaccurate, but not that inaccurate. Like, and it's also kind of confusing, like the way they use real life wrestlers. So they're at like this wrestling convention, and then they have it off the pop, like just an improv match out of nowhere. I've not been to a wrestling convention, but I feel like a wrestler who hasn't wrestled in so long and just got out of a situation, like hasn't wrestled in years and has a bad back, wouldn't just randomly get in the ring. And also, he lost to a dropkick. Nicole Kidman threw, well, Summer Rae, but Nicole Kidman threw a shitty single leg dropkick and pinned him, and like, yeah, that's cool. That's the end of the match. Literally, the match was Nicole Kidman throws a punch, Ron from The Office blocks it, goes under, bounces the ropes, ducks the clothesline, bounces back off, gets hit with a single leg drop kick, pin 1, 2, 3. Also, Chris Jericho is randomly there, and he gets hip tossed by Nick Offerman, Ron from The Office. So that, but is he in the match? Is he the referee? It doesn't really make any sense. And I feel like that just wouldn't happen. Sorry. I feel like that just wouldn't happen, and it pisses me off that it did. But what's more, but beyond that, because if you don't know wrestling, that's fine. But there's a part where they talk about, like, okay, Chris Jericho, he's a real wrestler and he plays himself. But every other wrestler you see in it is fictional. But they also work for real companies, because AEW and WWE are real companies. And also they get the eras mixed up. Like, I don't understand when Nick Offerman's character wrestled. Did he because in my sense is that he wrestled in the 90s and 2000s. But his character, I'm sorry, maybe actually it is early 90s, but it would make sense that he wrestled in the late 90s, early 2000s. Same with Nicole Kidman and stuff. That's where I assume they wrestled. But they must have been late 80s, early 90s because of their characters and how they work. Okay, I'm back again because I actually can articulate what I'm trying to say. Ignore that. But I can actually articulate what I was trying to say. So the characters in, like, the way they present the characters, I actually have changed my mind, but I'm going to explain what I was thinking, and then I'm going to repeat myself. So basically, in WWE, you can kind of go by era and how characters were explored and looked at. Like, characters and wrestlers in WWE today obviously are a lot different to what they were in 2010, the 2000s, 1990, 1980, exactly, etc. So in the 80s, it was like Hulk Hogan, so it was big characters, stereotypical, not bland, but like it was a lot kid-friendly, and it was very much like silly characters in like early 90s. But then in the late 90s, it was a shift to be more like adult, and it was like a lot more violent and sexy, and ooh, Stone Cold Steve Austin beats up his boss and his wife. So that's the vibe, and in my head, Nick Offerman's character felt more like he would face Hulk Hogan, not Stone Cold Steve Austin. But I do disagree with that now, because actually the character is presented in a lot more like edgier, grungier way. Like, he's not just like a good old character, good old hero. He has edge, and he like... Actually, no, I disagree again. He's very campy. And I feel like campy was like the 80s for wrestling. Like, think of like Cyndi Lauper was in wrestling and was like a marquee person. It was Hulk Hogan and Cyndi Lauper and Randy Savage. So that's the era he feels more in. But in the show, because it's set now, it doesn't say explicitly, but it's set now. So it doesn't make sense that 20 years ago he was wrestling. It makes more sense if he was wrestling 30 years ago, is what I'm trying to say. And also, they would, I don't know, I just don't, it doesn't matter. But there's a scene where they have a real match that actually happened. Maybe it didn't actually happen, but like it's real wrestlers in a real arena. It's Penelope Ford and Willow Nightingale having a match. But in the meta of the show, it's not Penelope Ford and Willow Nightingale, it's two random people, and one of them has OnlyFans and got fired from WWE, which is a real thing that did happen. There was a woman in WWE who got fired, and because she had OnlyFans, but she didn't go to AEW. But I just felt it was weird that they used real people, real arenas, real companies, but fake characters. I don't know. It just felt really weird to me. It's just like very hard to get into for me to suspend my disbelief of the wrestlers is kind of hard, but I assume for a normal person who has normal interests, it's fine. Also, Elle Fanning, I don't need to see her tits anymore. Holy shit. Like, I understand why it's there, and I'm okay with it, but I do think it's one too many times, because in the first episode, it's literally every 10 minutes you see her tits, her breast, her boobs. I do kind of get it though, because like they're meant to, like, she get whatever. And I'm trying not to spoil it, but it does make sense why they do it. There's also a shot of a person giving birth, and you see their vagina and the baby coming out. I actually appreciated that. I think that should happen more in shows. I think we need to see how fucking insane and scary it is, because pregnancy is insane and scary, and I can't believe people actually go through with it. It's insane. But anyway, yeah, those are my only complaints. Other than that, I really like it. O from Sex Education is in it. I really fuck with her. I've seen her in two things, and she plays a sexually intelligent side character who isn't a villain, but maybe is a little bit of a villain. But one, she's British, and one, she's English. Or maybe she's Irish. Maybe she's American, actually. I don't remember what O is in Sex Education. I don't know her nationality. Anyway, next. Music. Last night, I really got into the front bottoms with Punch and Bag, Bus Beat, which is my favorite song. I love Bus Beat. I've been playing it ever since last night. I played it like 12 times. Vacation Town, West Virginia, Funny You Should Ask, Rhode Island, and there's another one, but I listened to that a week ago. Also, Janet Jackson with All Night and Feedback. Brittany Murphy by Slater. Vacation and Stupid Cupid by Connie Francis. I Love the Music Speak by ABBA. I love that song because it's very, from what I've heard from ABBA, because I love ABBA, it's not very ABBA. It's more like orchestra and like kind of creepy. But I feel like a lot of the Visitors, like the best parts of the Visitor album, which is what I Love the Music Speak is from, is a little creepy, it's a little eerie, and I love it. I kind of wish they did more of it, but I kind of get why they didn't. But yeah, I Let the Music Speak is great. Yeah, that's it. That's the end of the podcast, because it's been 40 minutes. Bye. Love you. See ya.